Hey everyone, and welcome back to the NintendoFuse Podcast. It's been a little bit of a hiatus over the last month, a little bit over a month, but we are back for episode 255. My name is Steve, and I'm so grateful to be here with you to talk video games. And of course, we got Barry. Hey Barry, how's it going?
Steve, great to be back.
Absolutely. And Greg, good to see you again too.
Yep, it's also great to be back. Missed having our podcast over the last month.
Yeah, and it's been a little longer since Greg and I have talked to Barry because he couldn't make the last one because he was a little under the weather. How you feeling now, Barry?
I feel fine now, a little under the weather. That was actually my worst day. I'm like, oh man, this head cold sucks, and it just knocked me out. And I started feeling a little bit better for a couple days, and but my nose was like stuffed. I'm like, why can't I? I'm just stuffed. So my wife's like, let's get some Vicks Vapor Rub. Just put on your lip, it'll help you. So I'm like, I think the Vapor Rub went bad, and she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, it's bad. It doesn't have an odor. And then I thought about it some more, and I'm like, I think I need to get tested. And sure enough, she brought me COVID. So that's actually why I wasn't there. She brought me COVID from work, and she thought she just had a head cold too. So I'm like, oh, that's wonderful. Thanks.
Nice.
So I was knocked out for 2 weeks due to COVID. So that is exactly the reason I wasn't here. And I if it was any other day during that time period, I would have been fine. But that one day was the absolute worst, where it knocked me on my ass. So I'm sorry I couldn't be here. I did listen, and I was in bed, nauseous and miserable, and I was watching the podcast, watching Steve and Greg riff on me because I wasn't here, and I gave him a little bit of hell about it, but I felt the love.
I'm just glad you weren't nauseous because of us.
Well,
Sitting there in bed, and you're like, well, I wasn't feeling good, but now I'm really not feeling good. Listen to these guys talk.
I will neither confirm nor deny that.
Okay. Greg, you've not had COVID yet, have you?
I have not. No,
Yeah, we are in the minority still. I feel like
I would be,
yeah.
but
blame it on the wife, I guess.
love, right?
What
I totally do.
Yeah. So Greg, other than he's still escaping COVID and everything, what's the last month been like? Before we dive into all the game news and stuff, we've got a ton, by the way, to talk about tonight. And if you haven't, I'm just so excited to talk about you guys. We'll get back to this. I forget the whole other portion that I'm supposed to do before we jump into all this stuff. Thank you guys for joining us, and thanks for all the people that are joining us in the chat. We have a live chat that goes while we record this podcast, and we absolutely love interacting with you all throughout the whole podcast. So make sure that you do throw your thoughts around anything that we talk about tonight, what we've been playing, what you've been up to over the last month while we've been taking a break from the podcast, any of the news that we talk about tonight. We've got a ton of news to get caught up on, so we'd love to hear your thoughts or just random things that come to your mind. Just throw them in the chat. We'll refer to them as much as we can throughout the show. Also, if you have not done so yet, please follow us over on Twitter. We're at NintendoFuse. We love interacting with you guys online on social, and you can also join our Discord community. The link is on the screen and also in the show notes and the YouTube description for our social media and our Discord. We absolutely love interacting with you all in between episodes on either social media or Discord. So, with that out of the way, now, Greg, what have you been up to over the last month?
Well, definitely been having a lot of summer fun. I've been using my projector and playing my NES like on different walls, like throughout the house or even outside of the backyard. So I thought it'd be like, I know, like growing up, like my mom was like, "Oh, go play outside." I'm like, "Okay, I can bring my video games outside and play." So it's
Nice.
like I'm
It's great being
outside,
an
I'm enjoying
adult.
the weather, and then I can project like the NES Mini. This one of these guys back. Oop, too far, but yeah, yep. Brought like that little guy outside and cooked it up to the projector, and it's really cool being able to play whatever Mega Man 2, Mario 3, some awesome Punch Out, some classics on there. So I've been doing that. I checked out a new arcade recently, and they had like the Mario Kart arcade machine. It was pretty cool to see like some of the courses on there. I haven't really played a lot of the Mario Kart GP courses, and like those were some pretty fun ones to play. Like I had went with like a friend or whatever, and it was just a blast.
That's cool. That's cool. Looks like we got Jakester, of course, joining us in the chat. Hey, Jakester. And yeah, he says your wife, Barry, must just have so much love for you that she just brought you a summer gift. That's what it's.
Absolutely.
So yeah, other than getting over COVID, beyond video games, what's life looked like for you for the last month, Barry?
Um, Beyond that, well, one negative thing about COVID is that weekend after our podcast, I was supposed to go to Too Many Games, see a bunch of people, really fun show, and didn't feel up for it. And because I didn't even know I had COVID, I canceled beforehand. I was getting like 2 hour sleeps, and I was like, I just can't do this. There's something wrong with me. Well, so that sucked. So I didn't get to do that. But I did do two other shows. I did a video game con, did a show, did a 1 day vendor show here in Jersey. So I did that. Got to see again some friends I hadn't seen in a while, which was really cool just to get back and hang out with them. And then the following weekend, ZoloCon Game On was the first ever game show for ZoloCon in Pennsylvania, just north of Philly. So I did something I don't normally do is I took a day trip because they invited us to come out and we weren't sure if we should do it. It should be a vendor because it's, there's a lot to it, a hotel and all that stuff. And it was very short notice. But my wife and I, we drove down there and we met up with the people the organizers, and we had a good chat with them, and we walked around and met some people and saw some friends again that, I was like, oh, cool, you're here. It's uh, nothing, I didn't buy anything, but it was just really cool experience. Their first year show, first year for the game show. They've been many times doing like a toy show. Awesome group of people that to put it on. So I was really happy to support them. So that was really neat to do. And prepping now, a lot of prep work for this month because we're in August. Retro World is later this month up in Connecticut that we'll be doing. So it's a lot of exciting times in terms of that. Other than that, playing video games, like that's it. I'm like, you know what? If I got COVID, I can't go outside, so I'm just gonna sit here and play video games and play video games. I did.
Nice. And I'm assuming, did you have the brain fog portion of COVID
No,
thing? Oh, that's
not at
good.
all.
So you were able to
Not
play some games and actually make some progress, because I've heard other
100%,
people that
100%.
would have loved to have played games, but they couldn't actually think good enough to actually make it even through like a Mario game or something.
Well, like I said, I thought it was just a head cold, and a stuffy nose isn't even a symptom. And I legit had a stuffy nose. That's one of the reasons I was up or only was able to sleep for 2 hours because I have sleep apnea. So I had my mouth guard in and I couldn't breathe out of my nose at all. And I was like dying. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Like it was two terrible nights. My Fitbit was like, we're not even gonna give you a sleep score. You haven't slept enough. I was like, oh, this is wonderful. But no, I never had that. And by the time I realized, oh, I have COVID, it was already a week in. So the next week I felt perfectly fine, but it took another week to get the double negative score or negative test, and I wasn't going out. So I'm like, well, I'm just gonna play.
All right, that works. Cool. So, yeah, just a quick rundown of what we're going to be talking about tonight. Of course, we're going to get into what we've been playing, and Barry's got a long list because of what he just said. But then Barry's also going to give a good review of a game called Thunder Kid 2 Null Mission. And then we're going to get into a bunch of the stuff that happened over this last month. We didn't have our Nintendo Direct. Exactly. We had a kind of a Nintendo Direct, a mini partner showcase. So we'll get into the partner showcase. We'll talk about Eastasiasoft's some midsummer event, I think that's what it was called, and also Annapurna Interactive showcase from July 28th. And then we're going to give you a ton of different headlines, some quick stories that we want to make sure that you guys know that happened over this last month, maybe some things that you know about already, but we want to definitely make sure that you guys know about them and discuss those a little bit at the end before we, of course, jump into what's coming out over the next couple weeks. So let's jump into what we've been playing. Barry, let you kick us off.
Yeah, my list is abnormally long for one reason. Well, for two reasons. One, COVID, and two, it's been 6 weeks for me. So, because I missed the last podcast, so I utilized my time wisely, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do some stuff and play some games. So Animal Crossing I did play, but I'm like done now. Like I probably won't be saying much more of it. It's just not getting anything, not getting any more recipes. I'm just like I'm done. Like maybe I'll come back. Pokemon Unite, been playing quite a bit more actually. My wife started playing. They started the 1 year anniversary event. So I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Unite. Did Mario Strikers Battle League. I wasn't sure if I was gonna play it. I played through the single player and got all the cups, and then it's like, here's a harder difficulty. I was like, all right, a harder difficult, let's try it, and they kicked my butt, and I'm like, I'm done. I played, so I had fun with it. Played a game called Ocean's Heart, which is a Zelda style 2D game, a lot of fun. A game called Hourglass. It's a first person puzzle title similar to Portal, using time elements, but it doesn't have the witty dialogue like No GLaDOS, unfortunately. Fall Guys. Fall Guys went free during this break, so I tried it and I played it for about 2 days and had some fun with it, and I, I haven't gone back, but I did have fun with it. It was a good time. Play a game called Kung Fu Kickball. It's like a 2D uh, kind of a sport game. It's kickball where you have to try it almost like basketball, but you have like your ninja fighters and you get to beat the crap out of each other. Really interesting title. I did the Live Alive or demo, and then I played Live Alive. That came out, and I made a goal. I'm like, can I beat Live Alive before Xeno comes out? And it only gives me a week, and I did. I had a blast with it. Oh, what a great RPG! I never got it on the Super Nintendo because it never came over here, but the 2D HD visuals are fantastic. The story is great. There's just so much to it. I do highly recommend it. It is, I went through it quickly, but I feel I got the true ending. I saw the bad ending. Um, because it's broken in chapters, it's quite easy to just play and relax. Played a game called Record of Lotus War, Deedlit in Wondered Labyrinth. If you enjoy Castlevania, especially like Symphony of the Night or the Game Boy Advance or the DS Castlevanias, highly recommend this game. It is short. It's like 5-6 hours, so it's not gonna kill you, but it's a really great love letter to Castlevania, the Metroidvania style. Played a game called Music Racer. It's a rhythm game where you pick cars and you're like almost driving on like guitar, like the fret of a guitar, and you have to go into the right lane to hit the note. Nonogram's Prophecy. It was one of those free games. I don't know if you saw there was a No Gravity Games did a free giveaway during our time off. It was like 5 free games, and this was one of them. And it's Picross, and I love Picross, so I played that. Thunder Kid 2 No Mission. I'll talk more about that in a bit. That was a review code. A game called Fallen Angel, which I will talk about next time because that's another review code. And then I actually played a little bit on the apps. I don't usually do the apps, but I did the Genesis app because Mega Man Wily Wars came out, and I never got to do that in America because of Sega Channel, which I did not have. And while I have the Retrobit physical, I just never plugged it in. So I played and beat Wily Wars for the first time, meaning running through 1, 2, and 3 again, which was a lot of fun, and then doing Wily Wars. So that was a good time. On N64, I did Pokemon Puzzle League, which they just dropped. Again, I love Tetris Attack on the Super Nintendo, but I never played Puzzle League, so I went through and beat it on normal. But I had my fill. I didn't need to beat it on hard. And then on the NES, I did they just dropped it. We'll talk a little bit about it. Davia Story 6, Imperial of Nirshante Taya. I played it for maybe 5 minutes. It's all Japanese. I didn't understand what the heck was going on. When I finally found a battle, it was confusing. Not too fun. And then, of course, the final game I played on the Switch, which I'm still playing now, and I've put in a whopping 40 hours thus far, is Xenoblade Chronicles 3, because that game is just amazing beyond belief. It is open in every way. uh, I spent the last 2 days not really progressing the story, just exploring areas that I didn't know I could find. And I'm now like level 47, and the storyline that I'm on is like 32. So I'm like way over leveled, but I didn't grind. I was just exploring and just finding. And the world is insanely big. Like, it makes Breath of the Wild look like a sandbox, like a little child sandbox compared to the rest of the world. The battle mechanics are amazing. The story is fantastic, and I'm still waiting to see how it connects. Voice acting is good. The environments are beautiful. There's a world traversal. You could grind down the rails and climb up mountains, and you don't get it all at once. The chain attacks are easier to do. The Ouroboros combining is a lot of fun and strategic. The job system is awesome. The fact that you get new heroes to join you, each have different jobs, and then as they fight alongside your heroes, learn the jobs, so you can really pick and choose your party, how many tanks you want, how many DPS, and how many healers, all do different things. Like, I can't rank it compared to the other games, but I could say if you didn't like the combat in 1 or 2, you will most likely like 3 because it's improved. If you didn't like the gotcha system from 2, that's gone. The blade that whole system's gone. And if you enjoy open world, if you're looking for Breath of the Wild 2 and you're like, oh, it got delayed, do not sleep on this game. Everybody I see on Twitter is playing this. People, first timers, are jumping into this game and are like, oh my god, I can't believe I've missed the Xeno series. And I echo that already. And I'm still only in chapter 4. I'm in chapter 4 of the game. I don't know how many chapters there are, but I don't care. I'm just having fun. Even the quests are fun, and they're usually the most tedious part of any game. But that's not all. On the PlayStation 4, I played AI, Somnium Files, Nirvana Initiative, which also came to Switch, but I played the PS4 one. Uh, Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal game. If you've never played Zero Escape or the first AI, you're doing yourself a disservice. They are fun, like they're visual novel in a sense, but they also have this really cool mechanic of going inside people's psyche and dissecting and like going around and picking apart their brains to pretty much figure out their inner secrets. And sometimes like you uncover past traumas and it's a murder mystery because you're a cop and you're figuring out what's going on. And there's always that shoe that drops that will screw you up. It will always be like, oh, I've got it all figured out. And then they're like, oh, yeah, it's totally different than what you expected. Just a gem of a game. More people need to play it. It is absolutely phenomenal. PS5, I played Klonoa Fantasy Reverie series. Again, another one on Switch. One that I had to import because Bandai decided America was the one region that wasn't going to get a physical. Every other region did. And it's Klonoa. But I never played the Klonoa games. So I'm like, all right, I got a little, let me try it. And I beat them both. It's Klonoa 1 and 2, redone. Uh, Fun. I actually platinumed. I got a platinum and I wasn't trying. So it's really not one of those that is terribly hard, although you do have to do the challenge levels. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I do recommend it if you've never played Klonoa, you like 2D platformers. Yeah, I think is it Mario quality? No. But is it a lot better than a lot of other platformers? Yes. So I do recommend that. PC, I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 quite a bit more. They had an update. I had some stuff I have to do, and the 6.2 is around the corner. I think it's this month, so there's even more coming. And on the mobile side, Mario Kart Tour. My wife got into Mario Kart Tour, and I've just been playing it quite a bit more. No Dragalia lost. I still haven't gone back. They added a new story, and I still haven't gone back. Damn it, I'm mad. But yeah, that's what I've been doing for the past 6 weeks of my life.
Yeah. So you really haven't done much.
Haven't done much.
How is Xenoblade 3 already not beaten? I thought you were supposed to put in 100 hours.
He got lost exploring.
I did, honestly. Like the first day I did chapters 1 and 2, I'm like, oh, I'm moving at a clip. And chapter 3 was the second day, and it was like 12 hours for me to beat chapter 3 because chapter 3 opens up, and I started exploring. And then chapter 4, or the next day, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do chapter 4. Oh, but wait, I'm gonna go back and check one thing first. And that led to another and another. And I found hidden heroes that were completely optional, and hidden areas, hidden towns, which added new quests. And like I must have accidentally or went to optional areas the equivalent of probably half of Breath of the Wild's map at this point. Like
Wow.
just optional, you don't need to do them, at least not at this stage of the game. Remarkable. That's all I have to say.
Going to the chat, looks like Jakester has been finished both Metroid Prime 1 and 2, and finally got to go back to Lego Star Wars after they finally fixed the glitch there, the patch, the thing that was like closing down the game and preventing him from continuing to move on. I think that was in episode 8 or 9. I forget which one it was, but that's been fixed now. And also just finished the golden route of Triangle Strategy and started a third run yesterday. And yeah, he thinks he's also saying that he enjoys the 2D Metroid games more than Prime. and also confirmed that was episode 9 that had the game-breaking glitch in it for Star Wars, Lego Star Wars. Yeah, I haven't actually went back to Lego Star Wars yet. I pretty much avoided it just in case I didn't when I hit that glitch. So like I just like, and you know what, I'm just gonna leave it alone until that's patched. So I need to get back to it now that it's been fixed. Greg, what have you been up to lately in terms of gameplay?
Surprisingly, not as much as I almost would have thought, having like all this time off from the last podcast. But um, Animal Crossing is still going pretty full steam ahead. I've been getting more stuff designed on the island to get it to more like a finalized state. I picked up both Raymond and Audie, two of the more coveted villagers, at least like early on in the game's life cycle. Obviously, now they're just the amiibo cards. You can get them whenever you want, but I know those were the two most desirable ones, at least at the game's launch. Did some more TMT Shredder's Revenge. I was having some fun playing with my brother, and then I also did some solo action just to level up more turtles just for the heck of it. Even though I've already beaten the main story mode and like the arcade mode or whatever, I just thought I'd level up some more turtles to the maximum level. Then I also started playing Phenotopia Awakening. It's one of our Premium Edition's latest releases, and actually having a lot of fun with it. It's a little adventure game. They go around and solve some different puzzles and move like your character around. Like I only finished like the first area, but I'm excited to continue further on through it. Another game that I was playing was Rack and Ruin. It was just a game I had downloaded forever ago, or for whatever reason, and I finally decided that I wanted to give it a shot and see what that one was like. And it's actually a really cool, um, like 2.5D kind of like adventure game. You're going around like defeating like enemies and monsters. You can cast spells and use weapons and abilities, and it's really smooth, and like all the controls are super solid to like control your attacks in like the 8 different directions. So I was having a lot of fun with that and hoping to play that one more as well. And then finally, I had some more fun in the NES Online app. I was mostly playing like some co-op games with my brother, like Double Dragons. Um, let's see, Super Dodgeball, and some other ones that are on there that we enjoy playing together, like when we hang out. So those are mostly the ones on Switch, and then just still pumping away at Fire Emblem Heroes. They're going to be doing their 5.5-year anniversary in the next like day or two. There might actually be a Fey channel tonight for Steve to listen to. So,
Although the voice has changed, hasn't it?
yeah, like flat,
Yeah.
flat, flat. That still
Okay.
always begins with. I think there's supposed to be a Fey channel tonight. People have been speculating there's supposed to be one like pretty much over the weekend, but it hasn't happened yet. So it's pretty much got to happen before tomorrow. So they'll be also covering the Choose Your Legends Year 5 winners and stuff like that too. Kram was one of those from Fire Emblem Awakening. I know we had some Fire Emblem Awakening chat in our Retro Councils channel, so that's be pretty cool if you want to jump into Heroes and see Kram.
Nice. Yeah, so I, like Greg, you'd think I'd have all this time, but I've not played many games. I've actually been traveling a little more and had a lot of things going on throughout July, which is one of the reasons why we took a little bit of a break, because I anticipated I'd be gone a lot more, and then with the holidays and everything too. But yeah, since Fall Guys came out on Switch and pretty much every console, it's now free to play. If you missed that, it is free to play on all consoles. And so now I have it on my PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch, because why not? It's like, you know what, which one do I like better? And they pretty much all operate about the same. I don't think Fall Guys is necessarily a game that I have to have like super high resolution. Like as long as the frame rate is pretty good, I have a good experience. And I had a big mess because I had Fall Guys on my PS4 before, but it was the PlayStation, like the version that they gave you for free if you were a PS Plus member. But then I hadn't logged in, and I don't have a PS Plus anymore, so there was a huge thing, and they had to actually reset my account. But I got all my old stuff back, which the end of the story is it's all good. I have all my old stuff back, which is great. They're like, oh, we're gonna have to reset your account and everything. You'll lose your new progress. And I was like, well, I've only played 2 games, so feel free to wipe it. I don't care. So my old progress was much further along and had a lot more stuff attached to it than my new progress. So I was gladly saying yes to that. But it's been fun to get back into it. And like Fall Guys is definitely, like you said, Barry, it's fun to play around with. Sometimes it's really frustrating, and sometimes it's really really exciting and fun. But yeah, it's great that it's free now. And I also played another free to play game that I hadn't booted up in a long time, and that's Fortnite. I know Hassan plays it a lot. For those of you guys that are like old NintendoFuse Podcast people, you probably remember Hassan. But yeah, he's a big Fortnite fan, and so I booted it up after playing around with Fall Guys for a while. I was like, oh yeah, I haven't played Fortnite in a while. Wow, that game has changed. There are so many different modes that you can play now. Like before, it was just basic, like Battle Royale, and then they added the party mode, and then there was like private matches, and that was pretty much it before. And now there's like so many different options to go into. There's like 7 different party modes, and they're bringing new modes in all the time. And now the no build mode is a part of that. And like, there's so many different things to go in, mini games you can play, and all that stuff. So, yeah, so it was fun just to look around. I didn't have a whole lot of time that day, but I'm probably gonna start playing Fortnite a little more now, that I know that there's more than just the basic battle royale now. So that was fun to play around with. Played a little more TMNT Shudder's Revenge. Greg and I actually played right after the last podcast recording. And that was really fun because I told him, I was like, well, yeah, I have enough time to just play for a little bit, and then the next thing we know, we're beating the game. And played with Mike a little bit too. So Mike from NintendoFuse here, we played with him for a few levels, and then Greg and I finished up the game, and that was really fun.
Yeah, it worked so smoothly. I was pretty surprised.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
they did patch some stuff since we've played it too, but I think there was a game update for it since we played it, but it was surprisingly very smooth and very flawless. And I can't believe we lost that one achievement on having to continue on like the very last level though.
Oh, I didn't realize there was an achievement with that. I was just happy to beat it. And then yeah, I think it was cool too because I think I mentioned to you guys in Discord, it felt like, I mean, the only thing we were missing was like a voice chat, and that would have probably been it from me feeling like you guys are just right in the same room with me playing, on an arcade cabinet or something. It was that smooth to play along. So that's really cool. Also played some Wonder Boy Collection, so I got review codes for that, and I got all 4, some gameplay and some thoughts on all 4 of the games that are included in that collection over on my gaming channel. But I never really played Wonder Boy or the Monster World games at all. So like in summary, I'll say Monster Boy 1 is pretty fun. I really enjoyed it. Monster Boy 2 and Monster Land, I believe it is what it's called, is okay. And then Monster Boy 3, which is Monster Boy and Monster World, kind of just took a downward turn, and I really did not enjoy the last one, Monster World 4. And it really confused me too, like why they kept changing the storylines. Like all of a sudden it went from, this platformy game to all of a sudden like more RPG like, and then back to platformy, and then there's a ton of dialogue in one of them. Monster Boy 4 or Monster World 4, I totally got lost. Like at some point I stopped and I couldn't progress any further. I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do. So that was weird because it was the newest game and I figured that'd be the best, but not so much. Out of all those 4, I'd play Monster Boy, the first one, over and over again, but I would avoid 2, probably avoid 3, and 4 seems like it'd be okay if I could figure out how to progress. But there's also a lot of dialogue in a couple of them. Like you just keep talking to people. You don't need to. Just if you play the games, ignore all the dialogue. You do not need to talk to people. I did and wasted like 10 minutes just walking around talking to people instead of progressing in the game. Just skip you don't need to talk to anybody. Um, so that's my experience with Wonder Boy Collection. It's cool if you really enjoy those games. It's great to have all the extra features to be able to pause the game and skip back and forth and all that stuff that all the the modern ROMs bring from the old retro games. But yeah, Monster Brew 1 is my favorite of the four, but not the great experience with the rest of them. And I've been playing this game called Rocket League a little bit. I don't know if you guys know about it, but I've been playing that a little bit. So
Yeah, sounds like a
You
minor
play
title.
Rocket League?
yeah,
Never.
just a little bit. Yeah, I am solidly in Diamond 2 now, almost in Diamond 3, getting pretty close to champion level, which I'm going to be pretty excited about. And I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to move beyond champ because there's no way I'm going to become a grand champ. But I'll be okay in champ. We'll see what happens when I get there, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, no, I got to grind more to get to grand champ. But yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That doesn't sound like the Steve I know. He's gonna be the grand champ. He's
Right.
ranked number 1. in the whole world.
Supersonic legend. I got to build up there. No, there's no way. Like, there's people that are there's players that are like 13 that are like so much better than I am, and their reflexes and everything just can't compete with a 30 something. So, but I'm doing better than I used to. So I'm pretty excited about it.
He's got to adopt their strategies.
That is true. The problem is I need some people to play with because solo queuing is hard because I'll get some games where I really connect with people, and then other games where I'm like they're just rude and they stop playing, or they start scoring on us and they just get angry, or they're just bad altogether, and I don't know how they get that rank altogether. But yeah, it's really annoying because you progress and progress and progress, and all of a sudden you have bad teammates and just start tanking. But such is the game. So so many games like that.
Yeah,
well, let's
it's
get into
just like Pokemon Unite.
exactly Pokemon Unite. Very similar. So let's get into our review for this. And Barry's got this game called Thunder Kid 2. So tell us a little bit more about that, Barry.
Sure. So this game, Thunder Kid 2 Null Mission, is a title I first saw on one of the Eastasiasoft showcases, and I fell in love with the art style. It's like this 8-bit pseudo 3D graphics as you move, towards the screen, almost like Space Harrier. And I was like, oh, this looks really good. And they did provide a review code, so full disclaimer. This come out June 15th, by the way, of this year. Eastasiasoft again, the publisher. And I started this, and the first thing I did was die. I was like, whoa, hold on a minute, because you play Thunder Kid, and your objective is to go, start to finish, and there's all these enemies trying to shoot you, and I get a little bit further into the stage, and there's a checkpoint. I'm like, oh, good, thank God there's a checkpoint for this. And I go a little further, and I hit something, and boom, end of stage. I'm like, oh, that wasn't so bad. You have infinite lives. So I was like, okay. So I progressed through a couple stages, and then I had a boss. And the boss has like ridiculous amount of HP, but it's pattern based. Start figuring out the pattern, beat it, cool, move on to the next. And I think there's 7 worlds in total, each with 4 levels, 3 traversal levels, and then a boss. Each level also has a coin that it's a hidden coin, and it shows up on the list, but I don't know what it does. I don't know if it's just like a hidden thing just to get it, like a collectible for collectible's sake. But I did have a lot of fun with it. I did not beat it because of the challenge, and there's some things that I think this game will be a lot better if they tweaked. One is there's no like invincibility time. So usually when you play a game, you get hit, you have a couple frames at least of invincibility. In this game, you don't. So there are times where you have 4 hits per level, and I went like there are times where I just got bombarded and I died without even being able to move because there was no way to react. Or like fighting a boss where you're trying to jump and you wind up hitting part of the boss while jumping, and then you land on a bullet from the boss because it's like a bullet hell, and then you wind up getting to 50% pretty much of your life instantly gone. So I think they should have an option to turn it on and off. I mean, I think it should be on. I think most gamers like it on, but you know what, maybe you want to up the challenge. And that's probably my biggest complaint about the game. The levels are not terribly long, and it's a good thing they're not terribly long, because if they were, I don't think I would have gotten as far. Because, like, again, it's just because of that, because you have no invincibility timer, and the bosses are very varied. Every boss is very different, very creative. The story is kind of nonsensical. I didn't play Thunder Kid 1, so I don't know if that's required to understand the story, but the bosses have dialogue and they're talking to you, and I'm just like, I'm completely lost. I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about, but sure. Something about the null, something null. Okay, whatever. I I think at the end of the day, if this sounds exciting to you, if you look at the trailer and say, "Oh, this reminds me of what could have been like on the NES or the SNES, or the Genesis," and I like that level of difficulty, I think the price is right. I think you get enough content for $8 to enjoy the game. Uh, I would 100% recommend it if they put in that invincibility timer. But I did have a lot of fun with it, and I am very thankful for the code. And that's, if this sounds interesting to you, then definitely give it a shot.
Cool. Cool. Thanks for that review, and thanks to Eastasiasoft for providing yet another code for us to check out this game. They've been very kind to us and being able to check out a lot of games and give some reviews and game chats. So cool. Greg, any thoughts or questions or anything for Barry about that game or anything else?
Not really. It sounds pretty straightforward and sounds like it could be some fun to be had if you appreciate the difficulty and whatnot. So I don't know. I'll have to check it out more.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, let's jump in. We've got another game chat coming up next month. Next episode. We want to tease that. I'm blanking on the name of it. We mentioned it earlier, Barry,
It's
but
Fallen Angel.
Fallen Angel. That's right. It's an RPG, also from Eastasiasoft, and so
No,
we'll
it's
check.
not.
No, it's
from
not.
Eastasiasoft.
Oh,
It's not.
I just assumed.
It's not from Eastasiasoft.
I presumed wrong.
You assumed wrong.
I just completely all the ones we've been doing, so that's cool. So yeah, I've got it downloaded, but I haven't checked it out yet. So looking forward to playing that, and we'll give you a full discussion and review next episode. But let's jump into some news, and there's been quite a bit that's happened over this last month or so since our last episode. One thing that has not happened is this Nintendo Direct that we've been thinking, was going to happen in June, because that's when E3 normally happens. And then, some people were saying, they'll probably hold off till July, gives them a little extra time. They don't have to hold to the June time because E3 is not happening this year. I was like, that makes a lot of sense. We're at the end of June, probably going to happen in July. Here we are in August and still no Nintendo Direct. So before we get into any news, I just want to know what you guys are thinking around this absence of what seems to be like no summer Nintendo Direct this year. I mean, I guess it could still happen in August, and maybe the beginning of September, and still technically be summer. But usually a lot of people were thinking June or July, and it's still not here. Greg, what do you have to think about this? Are we not going to see anything at all, or you think just Nintendo sitting back? Have they given up on Nintendo Directs altogether? What do you think?
I don't know. I've been tuning into like the Kit and Krista podcast thing, and they made it seem like they weren't really bound by the E3 rules, and made it seem like, oh, well, they'll probably, since people have gotten pretty good at all these like predictions about when they're actually going to be and everything, and that obviously kind of upsets Nintendo that people can figure that stuff out. I think they're pretty much owing one. I know we normally get one in September, and it wouldn't make much sense to have one in August that I don't know that they wouldn't show for September. I mean, I guess they could always bump September's up to August, but I'm not thinking that's going to be too likely. I mean, we pretty much have a lot of the games that are coming out this holiday season, but I know that like, usually that E3 one gives us a little preview of what to expect in like the first few months of like next year, and like pretty much until like E3 next year. So I don't think we really have like a major timeline. I mean, I know Breath of the Wild 2 should probably be out before E3 next year, but I really don't know a whole lot of stuff that's going on at least for next year. At least this year's pretty much panned out, unless they have like a surpriser here or there that they'll either shadow drop an announcement in the coming weeks, or maybe they'll just put it in the September direct that was a nice big surprise coming. I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned shadow dropping. That's been happening a lot. Instead of a Nintendo Direct, they've just been dropping everything on Twitter. I feel like every time, for a while, it was like every day I woke up, there was like another announcement that posted on Twitter and just sent it out by email, press release, and that was it. Barry, do you think that's the future of Nintendo's announcements, or are they going to go back to
No,
a Direct?
they'll go back to a direct. I think they looked at it from a perspective of without E3, do they still have to do what they need to do? And they have obligations to their partners, their third party partners. That's their obligation. Their obligation isn't to us. Their obligation is to the third party partners. So I think that's the reason we got the direct we did. And if you look at the stuff that could have been there, we had it either shadow dropped or it was a Xenoblade direct prior to. That would have filled in. That would have been the Nintendo Direct. It would have been the stuff that we've now known shadow dropped, maybe one extra bonus stuff or two things that we haven't seen, plus what we did get. And that would have been the E3 Direct. So they probably looked at it and said, we are obligated to our partners. Let's do a partner direct. Xenoblade, let's give it more time and give it its own direct because it comes out in July. And everything else, we'll shadow drop when we're ready to shadow drop it. And I'm sitting at this point now, and while I love directs, and I do think they're coming back, I don't know if we're going to get a fall direct. I know we usually go one in September, but Nintendo usually has a big game every month in a healthy year, and they've got July. June had Mario Strikers. July had Xenoblade. I don't think there's anything in August. September is Splatoon 3. October is Bayo 3. We'll talk about in Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. November is Pokemon. So that leaves December and August. So if we're talking September, October for a fall direct, August is past, and we're just leaving December. December is not a big month for game releases because everything's out before Black Friday. December's kind of quiet. So we know Nintendo's got a very, very healthy end of year. They've got a very healthy third party end of year too. So could we see another direct? Absolutely. Would I like to see? Sure. Do they need to? I hate to say it, but they really don't. They really have a very healthy year, and they could put it off until January or February and say, here's what's coming first half. Now, there are still things up in the air, like what about Advance Wars 1 and 2? And I've heard some rumors that it's going to be like February of next year or something like that. Like, that game's done. Like,
Yeah.
put it out. Like, maybe that will be August game. Maybe they'll just shadow drop. Oh, Advance Wars is coming. They don't need a direct for that. We know about the game. We've seen the game. We're all just waiting for the game.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I think at this point, I think we as fans want the direct more than Nintendo needs to have it. Because I want to see more about
Exactly.
Metroid Prime 3 or 4. I want to see more about Breath of the Wild 2. I want to see more of that stuff, and there's always a chance that we might see it in a direct. But yeah, they don't need to at all. They've got a pretty good lineup already.
If they, like you said, you want to see Metroid Prime 4. So that means if you want to see Metroid Prime 4, they need to talk to Retro and say, you need to come together with the trailer to show off Metroid Prime 4. Now, it may be early. They may have, early alpha footage or whatever. Maybe it looks rough. Whenever you show a trailer, you can get people that say are hyped and people say, oh, that looks bad. I'm not going to get it. So now, without having the direct, there's less pressure on the development team to come up with a presentable trailer, and you don't have that issue. People will get it when it gets it, So it's a positive thing in their eyes.
That's true. Yep.
I mean, they could have already had a trailer ready for like an E3 direct, though. That's the thing. Like,
they could have.
It's not like it's not like it's like June 1st. Like, all right, we got an E3 direct in 2 weeks. Let's go. It's no, they've been working on this throughout March, April, whatever. Before
yeah,
E3
but
was
they
even known
probably don't have a trailer until right beforehand because March and April the game was in a very different state than it is in May. Things happen. So I think if there was a trailer cut, they just probably say, you know what, let's just keep it, and we'll make a better trailer for the time we show it off, and maybe we'll put it as a bonus in the game, like the trailer that you never saw or whatever, and just have it as a feature.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably. I mean, yeah, I mean, they had to have done some work on it because
Oh
it
yeah.
wasn't until like pretty late in the game that E3 kind of officially said we're not going to have happen and everything. So I imagine they'd already done some work on what was going to be shown.
They
But
did. That's
yeah,
that's what they did show off.
yeah, I guess that's whatever's left. Let's call it a direct mini. So speaking of the direct mini, let's get into that. That happened on June 28th. Greg, tell us a little bit about what was announced at this Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase on June 28th.
Just so our fans are knowing, Steve purposely passed this off so he didn't have to read off butcher all the game titles and is leaving that obligation to me.
We've got about
So
155 or 150 episodes that I think since Hassan passed the hosting duties off to me, and I finally learned.
yeah, so we had quite a huge direct of the partner showcase. Quite a number of games were shown off, like Harvestella, which releases on November 4th. The Persona series is coming, like 5 Royale on October 21st, and 3 Portable and 4 Golden is going to be arriving soon. They did have an update on the Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope, which comes out on October 20th. The Live Alive, which is already out, they did have a demo and stuff prior to that, and that carries over to the full game if you were to play that first. And there's Monster Hunter Rise, the Sunbreak DLC that is already out. Portal Companion Collection that has already released as well. The Minecraft Legends is coming in 2023. Sonic Frontiers holiday is this holiday 2022. Blanc is coming February next year, 2023. Return to Monkey Island, it's going to be later this year in 2022. The Disney Dreamlight Valley, it's going to be September 6th and it has an early access. Dragon Quest Treasures, December 9th. This is going to be the one that I butchered. Nuir Automata, The End of Yorha edition, October 6th. Little Noah Scion of Paradise, June 30th, already passed. RPG Time the Legend of Right, August 18th. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, 2023. Doraemon Story of Seasons Friends of the Great Kingdom, 2022. Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, 2023 in 2 different volumes. Super Bomberman R2, 2023. Pac-Man World Repack, August 26th. Railgate is coming this fall, 2022. Captain Belay, Meteor, the Jump Plus Dimensions. That's coming. That just came out on July 28th. No Man's Sky, October 7th. A Plague Tale Requiem Cloud version, an unknown release date, and then a Plague Tale Innocence coming out on October 18th. So the main ones that had stuck out to me was pretty much the Sparks of Hope for Mario and Rabbids, and then Super Bomberman R2 actually sounds pretty interesting. I really do like the Bomberman games, and even the Dragon Quest Treasures sounded kind of interesting as well to me, as well as a Dragon Quest fan. I don't know what you guys thought or anything sticking out to either of you.
Nice. How about you, Barry?
Yeah, I thought this direct was amazing. Honestly, there was so much to like in this direct, just as a fan of games, and a lot of surprises. Harvestella came out of nowhere from Square Enix. Looks amazing. Looks like Rune Factory, and I love Rune Factory. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. It's Square's take on it. So I absolutely uh, can't wait to play that. The Persona games, awesome. It's about time that they finally came to Switch. Although 3 and 4 are digital only, and they're digital only on all platforms, and people are pissed. But if you haven't played them, Persona 5 Royal is a great starting point. What a great RPG coming this year. Mario and Rabbids, absolutely looking forward to that. Live Alive I already did, and I truly recommend it. I did the demo first. It's a very short demo. But yes, absolutely play that game. That's awesome. No interest in Monster Hunter, but I'm happy for them. Portal I've already played. They're great games. Happy for everybody that didn't get to play them yet. Not interested in Minecraft. Sonic, I'm more interested in Sonic Frontiers from what Nintendo showed off in this than what IGN did in that week-long thing. Like, it just looks so much better. Come with other standouts for me. Dragon Quest Treasures. It's a prequel to Dragon Quest 11, and I love 11, so absolutely. I already beat Nier Automata, but if you haven't, That is a Platinum game and a Square game, so absolutely pick that up and play it. Little Noah looks adorable. Absolutely looks adorable. Mega Man Battle Network. I'm so happy those games are coming. Now give us Legends, give us Star Force. Let's get all Mega Man games on there, and give us Legacy Collection 3 and X Collection 3. Pac-Man World. I never played the first one. I played 2 on the GameCube and really enjoyed it. But this looks good. I'm excited to give this one a shot. And the rest of them, No Man's Sky, I'm still burned from the beginning. And Super Bomberman R2 looks good. I did enjoy that at launch, so I'm excited to see what they do with that. But yeah, overall, I was super happy with this direct. This was way better than it ever had any right to be, and that tells me this was part of the E3 Direct. This was the E3 Direct outside of Nintendo stuff, because this wasn't just a partner mini, because we've had those before where they're like 11 or 12 minutes and they show off a few games, and some are good and some are like, okay, whatever. But this had a lot of heavy hitters. Monkey Island has a huge group of fans. Plague Tale was a huge group of fans as well. It was just a lot. It was like one after another great titles.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I remember thinking, number one, like you just said, like this is a lot more content than a normal mini direct, for sure. I think really the biggest thing is there weren't any first party games. That was really the only separation between that and a regular direct, almost. At least some of those lighter directs. And I remember looking through like and watching it and being okay with it. I wasn't disappointed at all, but it was one of those that I as I sat through and even as I was refreshing my mind to get into this, there weren't really any games that stood out to me that I go, I have to get that. That's going to be it. But it's not because it's totally based on preference. It has nothing to do with they didn't look good or anything like that. A lot of the games look fantastic. But like games like Harvestella, I'm not into the farming kind of games. I don't have enough time for RPGs anymore, life simulation kind of stuff. But it looks fantastic, like you said, and I'm sure people are going to really enjoy that game. But it's not for my preference and my style anymore, and what I really play. So games like that, I wish I had the time for Monster Hunter Rise, because the game looks absolutely fantastic. This DLC looks great. But again, you have to grind in that game, and I don't have time. And now I'm sounding like Barry used to, no time. But anyway, but you've recently had time, so. But
Guess you just need to catch COVID, and then you'll have plenty of time.
that's all I need.
Yeah,
story.
Wait a second. Let's not. No.
Steve, I think I'm going to send you a copy of Xenoblade along with COVID so you can enjoy it.
That sounds like back when. What was the stuff like?
Anthrax?
Yeah, Anthrax. The people would send in the mail.
Was it Anthrax?
Was it?
I remember
something.
that. It
Yeah,
was right,
was like
right after
people,
9/11.
yeah. There was like, if you saw any like powder or anything on your envelopes or whatever, like, oh no, they sent whatever that was. So hopefully you can't send COVID that way.
No, you can't.
I know we were freaking out though in the beginning, because we were like setting out all our mail and making sure you didn't touch it for like a week and all that stuff.
Same thing.
I think I could potentially be excited about Super Bomberman R2 if I need to see more. What I don't want to do, I don't want this just to be a slightly updated version, because like what's the point? But if it actually takes it into an actual another level and makes it worthwhile to have a sequel, then that could be fun. I've always enjoyed Bomberman, especially with multiplayer. Pac-Man World repack. I was not actually a big fan of Pac-Man World, and it wasn't an awful game, but I was just like, I can avoid this. And so I was really shocked to see them do this repack version. I feel like there's other things that were kind of like playing catch-up mode, though, like bringing these games that are great on other consoles, and they're bringing the ports over. I feel like there was a lot of really strong brand new games, and then there was a bunch of ports, and then there's a bunch of just updates on games we've already heard of. So because of all that, I didn't get super excited about this Direct Mini. But I'll reiterate it again. I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't like walked away like, well, that sucked and wasted my time. But but I think it would have been nice if we had some like big news, and I'm still, of course, holding out for the first party news of, Metroid Prime 4 or Breath of the Wild 2, knowing that wasn't going to happen in this direct mini, but still, like, that's where I want to go with like that kind of announcement kind of stuff, and that just didn't happen in this one.
I think for me, the excitement is the fact that Switch has a ton of new games. Like, there's just a ton of new games. And it's the fact that there's so many of these older games are coming back in collections. It's new ways to play great games, as well as a new way for people who miss them to experience them. That makes it so exciting for me, because it's like the Switch has now become this all-in-one. Like I was saying with Legacy collections for Mega Man, give us all the Mega Man. Like, give us every one. You can play all the Mega Man games on one system seems unheard of and amazing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I love all these collections. You talked about Wonder Boy, like all the Wonder Boys on one thing. There's all these collections that they're doing. So all the Space Invaders are in one thing. Like it's Turrican, all the Turrican. They just announced all the Ray games, like Ray Storm, like all the shmups, are all getting a collection. I love this. This is the magic of gaming, because there's a lot of great games that no one's played, or maybe you missed because it's impossible to play them all. So if you've never played them, they're brand new for you. Like Live Alive. I mean, in America, we didn't get to play it. Maybe you got to play a fan translation on an emulation, which is great. And I almost did that back then. But if you haven't played it, it's a brand new game. So I got to play it. It's a brand new game for me, even though it's an old game from like '94. And I love that. That's what makes the Switch so great.
Yep.
So I'm okay with these directs where it's more of these older games coming out, because there's still so many new. Now, if there was no new games, that would be a problem. But there's still so many new games coming out too that I'm okay with that.
That's true. Yeah, and I think it's interesting too, because I remember, I think several episodes ago, I remember you even saying, stuff like that, Barry, that you were like, I hope they bring all these old games and put them on collections, and now we're starting to actually see that happening quite a bit, which is really exciting. So, did you have something, Barry? Greg?
Yeah, in the chat, I was gonna say quickly, Jonathan in the chat, Jonathan Drews joined us. I mentioned the TMNT collection, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Another example. It's just awesome.
Yep. So, did you have anything, Greg?
No, I've just been in the chat talking with people, but yeah, I do wish we had more collections and stuff, and it's almost like Nintendo needs to be more on board and not just make like 5 collections and have a download code inside it. Like they could have easily made a better like Mario collection that had like Odyssey 2 and other stuff on there and still have it available for sale. They could actually enhance like the Mario like thing and actually put in like new Super Mario Brother games like included with like 1, 2, 3 in World, and like they could be doing all sorts of awesome stuff to have collections and stuff to honor like their series and stuff, but they don't want money apparently, as Barry would say.
Exactly.
True.
I mean, even if you look at Mario, right? There's very few mainline Mario games you can't actually play on the Switch, and that's incredible. Now, it would be great to have a physical collection of them all, or one that they don't just disappear and delete for some stupid reason. But that's the beauty of the Switch, which is why when the Switch 2 eventually comes out, if it's not backwards compatible, it'd be a crying shame.
Yeah, especially at this point. And I think I really, that's one of the things that I really hope for the future systems, is that they do figure out some way that it is fully backward compatible, because like, number one, for their sake, so they don't have to keep redoing this stuff over and over again, but for our sake as well. I mean, like, there's a lot of collections that I'm like, I don't want to have to repurchase that. That's the only time they like money, Greg, is they re-release it again, have them pay $10 again, have them pay $20 again. That's the times that I feel like Nintendo actually wants money then.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really nice if they could just like have like the eShop actually work across systems and not just have a new eShop for every system. Like,
right.
Why can't I download like the 3DS eShop games like on the Switch, or why can I download the Wii U eShop games? Like, it's ridiculous.
Yep. Some good conversation over the Evercade. They have some good collections over there as well. Jonathan says, "Wish they'd make a new NES remix game. That would be really fun." I forgot about those remix games. That I had a blast with those when they came out. More with the first one than the second one, but I really enjoyed those as well. Jokester wants a new Super Mario All Stars collection. That would be great. Maybe a Mario and Luigi paper and a paper Mario collection. Yeah, there's all these collections that they could definitely be making for sure. So yeah, well let's jump in. There was another event that happened recently. I believe it was on July 5th. Eastasiasoft had their midsummer showcase. So Barry, tell us a little bit about that event.
Yeah, so Eastasiasoft does these showcase where they showcase the games that are coming out in a more like recent time. So this was their summer showcase, and they did 11 total titles. Uh, 7 of them are coming to the Switch. Usually they all are, but this some of these are already on Switch. So they're very good with that. So we had Senses Midnight, which is coming soon to PC and later to consoles. Quintus and the Absent Truth is coming July 6th, already out on Switch. Crypt of the Serpent King Remastered 4K edition is PS5 and Xbox X. Would be great if that came to Switch. Rayland is already out on Switch. Otaku Cross, Pretty Boys, Klondike Solitaire is now out on PCs, coming later to consoles. Seduction, A Monk's Fate is out on the Switch. Arsonist Heaven is out as of July 27th on the Switch. Back Again is on the Switch in August. So that's sometime this month. Pretty Girls 4 Kings Solitaire is coming out this month for the Switch. Book Quest is coming out this month for the Switch. And they ended with Sword and Fairy Together Forever for PS4 and PS5 on August 4th. I'd love to see the Sword and Fairy games come to Switch. They're Chinese RPGs, which are really, really cool. Did you guys get a chance to watch this showcase, and were there any standouts for you?
Greg, I'll let you go first.
No, I didn't really see like the announcements if we covered it in our Discord, which I apologize. I wasn't really in our Discord for long periods of time while we've been on break, but I definitely want to go back and watch it because I know like a lot of the Eastasiasoft games I do end up enjoying. So I'm sure there's got to be a few games in here that I will be looking forward to trying to get like review codes or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I found that like I don't know, like the last several like 2 or 3 Eastasiasoft events, like I've not found anything that I really like that's coming to Switch. The games that I thought looked like the best from this one are not coming to Switch. So it's like at least have not been announced yet for Switch. Like Senses, for instance, I was like, well, it could be fun to play on Steam, but it's not even announced for any consoles yet. I do think the Quintus and the Absent Truth with the little mouse did look kind of fun, and I may end up checking that out. But yeah, the rest of the games seemed pretty simple, and there seems like a lot of games that maybe they were ported over from a mobile version or just a very simple game, or even not so great graphics and things like that. So of the Switch versions of the games, things like Klondike Solitaire, like that's cool, but I could play that on a lot of different things nowadays. So but yeah, I think for this one, the non-Switch games are the ones that stood out to me the most, except for maybe Quintus and the Absent Truth. So, what do you think, Barry?
I'm actually in agreeing with you there. I think Quintus was the standout for Switch just because it's really unique. Like I said, the little Sword and what you call it, the Sword and Fairy Together Forever. It was my standout game. I need to dive into that series. I got a couple of them, and it just looks fantastic. Chinese-based RPGs, like action RPGs, and again, not Switch. I don't know if will come to Switch. Maybe they'll be port it. Even the Crypt of the Serpent King. I'm not a big into first person, but it also kind of reminds me of like the old school Eye of the Beholder, which I do have a fondness for. And that kind of looks cool. Like, all right, maybe I'd give that a shot. But again, it's unfortunately not on Switch. And a lot of the other stuff, it's like you said, it's simpler stuff. So I do think this was one of their weaker showcases. But the nice thing is these showcases they only cover like 2 months. So this is their summer, the summer releases, and it's not as big of a time, and that's fine, because they'll have plenty more coming. Um, but I'm just thankful that they're giving so much love to the Switch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think I've said this
I agree.
before for previous podcast episodes. I think the biggest thing that like they've not done this, but the last couple Eastasiasoft directs or whatever showcases, I think I'm personal stance. Like I don't think like I don't love the fact that every game has scantily clad women in it. It's like just give me a regular solitaire
Not every
game. I
game.
don't need like, but it feels like there's sometimes the showcases are like every game. I turn around and like, oh look, there's another girl without much clothes on. Oh look, there's another girl without much clothes on. But yeah, it's like not every game they put out is like that. Like they've had some other excellent games that have not been
Actually,
like that.
to be fair, that Klondike Solitaire was not girls. That Klondike Solitaire was men.
Oh well, either way.
That's why it's called Pretty Boys. So there was scantily clad men there. Just they happen to be wearing women's clothing, but they're still boys.
Oh, either way, scantily clad people then. Um, but
Equal opportunity, right?
yeah, there you go. Just give me my playing cards and let me play solitaire. Which yeah, I could do that online now. So I don't need to buy a game. I could just do that on a web browser nowadays, or a free app on my phone. So yeah, I think it's the good thing is like you said, it only covers a couple months. They'll be back with another one in a couple months, and who knows, they may have some excellent games during that one. But not that this one had bad games in it, but I feel like all of us are kind of like, it could be better.
Yeah, the next one you can look forward to the more scantily clad people that they have in their games.
Yeah. Looking at the chat, Jokester did not watch it. Jakester said that Rayland certainly looks like a pastime mobile game, and and I'm not sure what Jokester is throwing up at, but it's funny because he said that's weird. Nope. So whatever it is, he's throwing up.
Sometimes those like Rayland does look like a very simple mobile game, and you know what? There's a place for those too. If you just have 5 minutes, like I was playing, over my period of break, I was playing Nonogram's Prophecy. It's just a couple buck game, but it's Picross, and I love Picross. I can play it on many different things, and it's just nice to be able to, hey, I want to have 5-10 minutes, let me just play it. So there's definitely a market for those kind of games. It's not gonna compete for Game of the Year, but if that looks like something, hey, I could do that while waiting at the doctor's office where I don't have to worry about being too involved. It's perfect for that.
Totally. And I think that's, I'm trying to see if I can find it real quick. But there was a game that I played for the last podcast episode called I think it was Freshly Frosted. It's like a conveyor belt cupcake making game, and it's really super simple, and it seems like a mobile game, but I told Greg the last episode, like I sat down to play for like 5 minutes, and next thing I know, I'm like 2 worlds through. Like I've beaten like 24 levels because I totally got sucked in, and it works. So I totally agree with what you're saying there. Yeah. Let's move on to this other event. Annapurna Interactive Showcase also had an event on July 28th. So that one wasn't too long ago, just a few days ago. Barry, tell us a little more about what they announced there.
Yeah, so if you've never heard of Annapurna Interactive or Annapurna, you really should check them out. They've got a ton of great games. In fact, they just released Stray, which a lot of people started going crazy over Stray, like, oh, it's a cat game. They've done like Donut County, and they've done so many. And what's cool about their showcase is they didn't just show games. They actually talked with the developers. They had the developers give updates about their studio, and you got to see the behind the scenes, like the one guy was in Florida, another guy was in Texas, and they just like, hey, are we serious? And they met for the first time, like they're showing the video of them meeting for the first time, and they're working on a game together, and it's like, this is really cool. Like that's the passion that I love to see driving games. So they did show off quite a bit that are actually on Switch, or coming to Switch. So Hindsight is coming just a few days from now, August 4th. The Lost Wild is coming sometime to consoles. Thirsty Suitors is coming in 2023, which really looked like an interesting RPG. Like I was totally not sold on it until they started talking about it, and I absolutely fell in love with it. Outer Wilds was announced for Switch, and now they've announced like, oh, it's still coming. The Pathless is coming winter. That's a game that came out on PS5, and I played it, and it is truly magical, special game. So I'm happy to see Switch get it. And Marquette is also coming this winter. So both of those are coming this winter to Switch. They showcase some other games. Those are not coming to Switch as of now, but that doesn't mean they won't. A lot of their games do hit the Switch. But I don't know if you guys watched it. I mean, I love it just for the behind the scenes. I love to see the behind the scenes with the developers and seeing their lives and what goes into making a game. But I don't know if you guys watched it or your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I actually didn't get a chance to watch it. I was surprised when you mentioned covering that for this episode, and I was like, oh, I did not know that was an event, and totally missed it. So yeah, it's going to be something that I have to go back to. As I was like quickly before we started, just kind of guiding through. What was the one called Outer something,
Outer Wilds.
Outer Wilds. That looked pretty cool. I like I'm a sucker for that style of graphics and the playing with the silhouettes and that lighting thing and everything. You guys know, like from the games that I've talked about before, anything that has that kind of graphic style will automatically pull me in and say, ooh, I want to see more. So that was one of the ones that instantly stood out to me. I know nothing about the game. Solely based on the little bit that I saw. It looks really cool, but yeah,
it's already out on the other systems.
Okay, cool. So I can definitely check it out. But yeah, that's really the only thing that I've got so far. I need to go back and actually spend some time with it because yeah, I didn't realize this was a thing. So how about you, Greg?
Same. I didn't really realize it was a thing, and I also didn't really properly prepare and even really know what to look for. So it'll be another item they'll have to catch up on, and hopefully by the next podcast. So
cool.
Yeah, you really should. You were just showing a little bit of Thirsty Suitors. It's like an RPG where you play a girl and different suitors are trying to go for you, and you do like an RPG battle, and you like go inside their head where they think like, oh, I think I'm this big, shot, when really you're not, but in your head you do, and it's like a Latino guy, I think it is. And it's like, oh, what's the best way to knock down a Latino's ego is, oh, they always respect their mothers, so your option is like to call your own mother, and your mother gets on speakerphone and yells at the guy, and the guy's like, no, I'm sorry, mom. And it's like, it's so out there, and it's so interesting. I'm like, this is new. Like, this is definitely, I wasn't going into this thinking I would enjoy it, but that like fourth wall breaking out of the box, I'm like, I can see myself having fun with this game.
Nice. What's this mech game here?
That's one that's not coming to Switch right now, but it
does.
It looks great. I saw that. I was like, this looks really good.
The good thing is, I mean, as long as it's coming to Xbox One, I can play it, or PS4.
It
I can
probably
still play
will come to Switch down the road because, again, a lot of like Pathless. Pathless was a PS5 launch title or close to launch, and that's when I played it. And if you've never played it, you've probably seen it. It's just there's not a lot of dialogue. It's this open world exploration where you play a hunter with a hawk and a bow, and there's targets and you can shoot targets. And as you shoot them, you like gain speed boosts, and you can soar across the area, and you can grab your hawk and like lift up into the air. And you got to fight these multiple gods that have become corrupted, and they're like engulfed in flames, and you're like in this fire world trying to get close to them, and you're like, you have to constantly keep your speed up to get close, and you don't die. There's no HP or anything like that. Like, you can just enjoy and explore, but the bosses are, it's almost like a dance. It's so cool. They show it earlier on, I think, in the trailer.
Okay.
But yeah, that's one I highly recommend because, like I said, I've played Pathless, and to see it come to Switch, like, I'm not gonna play it again, but I'm so happy for people to get to experience this. But there's Pathless. There's just so many cool games that they put out, and I love to see them embracing the Switch, because look at that. I mean, that's beautiful. It's so artistic. It's not like real time. I think they show in the trailer there's one of the bosses. Like it just is so visually beautiful.
Yeah, it seems like a lot like what's that flight game, Spirit or something like that. That like
Oh yeah,
also you didn't lose your
Sky.
life for Sky, something like that. But
Yeah.
it seems like now you actually have some goals to achieve, which
Oh,
you didn't
there's a
really in
ton
the
of
other game.
stuff to do.
Yeah,
There's a ton of stuff to explore and find and document, and I didn't 100% it, but it's like different tiers, and it's just a very beautiful adventure.
that's cool. So that comes out in the winter. So yeah, okay, I'll say that one also is something I'm looking forward to then because it looks pretty cool. But yeah, excited to look more into those for sure. Jakester says that one game looks more like Daemon X Machina. It does actually.
It kind of does.
Yeah. So cool. Well, we're going to move on to some headlines. But again, if any of the things that we've talked about so far stand out to you, you want to share your thoughts, feel free to go ahead and do that in the chat, in the live chat here. If you are joining us after the fact, you're either listening to this on your favorite podcast app or you are watching us here on YouTube. Number one, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell and the like button and all that stuff if you haven't yet. But also throw a comment down there. Let us know what you think about any of the things that we've been talking about. Let us know on social media. Join our Discord and let us know your thoughts there as well. We'd love to interact with you in the live chat or even after the fact as well. So let's jump into these headlines. Like we said, there's a ton of stuff to go over that has happened over the last, I think, like 5 weeks, 6 weeks since we've had the last podcast episode. So we're going to run through those right now, and then we'll kind of maybe have a little discussion afterwards. So kick us off, Greg, with this first one.
In true NintendoFuse fashion, we predicted the next kind of direct, but I guess it's the Pokemon Presents in this case. So it's still sort of a direct, but not quite. So pretty much this Wednesday, August 3rd at 6 p.m. Pacific time, Pokemon Presents video presentation will have some updates on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, along with other Pokemon news coming out in the near future.
Yes, and speaking of updates to games, the Nintendo Switch Sports got its first free summer update where you can kick your soccer matches into high gear with that leg strap accessory. Then you could also experience volleyball with the newly added slide attack and rocket serve, and reach for the new S rank and infinity rank.
Ooh. Also, if you have been holding off on some games, specifically multiplayer games, Switch eShop has a ton of games. We've got these listed all on our Twitter at NintendoFuse, but a bunch of games over there that are, I think, ranging from like 10-20% off all the way to 60% off. So like Borderlands, the Handsome Collection, 60% off discount. That's huge. Games like Dead by Daylight, also 60% off. Doom Eternal is actually 75% off. So you can save a ton of money on digital copies of games. So people like Barry are going to be upset, because you're not supporting, physical games here. But these are some huge deals that you do not want to miss if you're okay with grabbing some digital games.
And anyone that kind of forgot about the Mario Kart Booster Pass, we finally got some news that there's the next 8 courses are on their way, coming in just a few short days. This Thursday, August 4th, you can race the New York Minute from Mario Kart Tour, Mario Kart Circuit 3 from the SNES, the Calamari Desert from Nintendo 64, Waluigi Pinball from DS, Sydney Sprint from the Tour, Snowland from GBA, Mushroom Gorge from Wii, and a brand new course, Sky High Sunday.
Yes, and if that's not enough, let's go for more Nintendo updates. Mario Strikers Battle League got its first update with the long-awaited Daisy, which I know a lot of people felt the game was missing Daisy. Well, they heard you, and you're getting Daisy, and you're getting Shy Guy as playable characters, brand new, along with the new Desert Ruin Stadium and the Night Gear set. There's more content on the way, and we'll see what happens next.
Nice. I'm finally excited for Daisy. Also, NES and SNES coming to the Nintendo Switch Online actually already has. We mentioned this earlier, but Fighter's History from the SNES, Kirby's Avalanche from SNES, and also Deva. Is it Deva? Deva? We're going to go with
I think it's
Deva.
Diva. I don't know.
Diva? I don't know. Diva Story 6 Imperial of Nursartia. I don't know. Either way, you can play those games on your Nintendo Switch Online apps for NES and SNES and get your retro gaming on if you are a Switch Online member.
So we got the results for Nintendo sales for the month of June of 2022, and both June and the first half of the year, the Switch dominated unit sales, and pretty much there's a number, some great games that came out. Like Elden Ring continues to hold off number one, like overall, but in terms of the best sellers for Nintendo Switch, we got number one has Mario Strikers Battle League, 2 Mario Kart 8 DX Deluxe, 3 Nintendo Switch Sports, 4 Kirby and the Forgotten Land, 5 Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, 6 Fire Emblem Warrior 3 Hopes, 7 Pokemon Legends Arceus, number 8 Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, 9 Animal Crossing New Horizons, 10 Demon Slayer. I can't finish the rest of that.
That's why he gave that to you.
Exactly.
And speaking of all those awesome games, one of the things that would have been part of that June Direct was Shadow dropped information on Bayonetta 3. The long-awaited Bayonetta 3 is finally coming to the Nintendo Switch on October 28th, just in time for Halloween. They're also releasing not only a physical for Bayonetta 3, but a Bayonetta 3 Trinity Masquerade Edition that comes complete with a 200-page art book and 3 cases, one for each Bayonetta title, that combine to form a panoramic artbook or artwork altogether. And on top of that, they also announced Bayonetta 1 is finally getting an official US release. Physically, I believe it's coming out in September. So no longer having to worry about the Japanese one, even though that one did have English. We're finally getting it physical. So maybe Nintendo's starting to learn?
Maybe. Nintendo is bringing out a brand new game, Kirby game, Dream Buffet. Kirby's Dream Buffet was announced, kind of just a shadow drop kind of deal. They dropped it on July 12th, and it's set to release this summer, so probably anytime soon. And this particular spinoff has Kirby racing around in a ball form, so you'll race against opponents in a smorgasbord of food-themed stages. It almost seems like kind of a Mario Party and a Fall Guys kind of combination a little bit with Kirby at the center. So no word yet, like how much it'd cost, if it'd also be free to play, similar to Fall Guys, or if it's going to be something that you know, it's probably maybe a budget kind of a game. But yeah, if that excites you, sometime this summer, you're going to be able to play Kirby's Dream Buffet.
And while we already previously discussed the lack of the Nintendo Direct, but the Switch Pro rumors never ceased to exist, thinking that they would show up in the said Direct that never happened. But in a new Switch that is coming is the Splatoon 3 OLED model. So they've got some cool art on both of the Joy-Cons and on the dock. So if you're still holding off on an OLED model, you can probably want to check out to have this one, as it looks pretty nifty.
And if the Super Mario Lego sets just didn't do it for you because they were geared towards kids, I get you. I'm in the same boat. So does Nintendo, because they finally decided to give us more adult line with a giant Bowser is coming. It is part of the adult product line. It's going to be 2,807 pieces. And to show it off, they even had a giant version of it at San Diego Comic-Con. I think that was like 14 feet high or something. I would love to get that one, but I don't think it would fit in my house. But if you want yours, it'll come later this year.
It's a centerpiece of your museum there, Barry.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. I'd love it.
We're getting closer and closer to that having Peach's Castle and Hyrule Castle. I'm feeling it. Slightly different, turn. Nintendo has partnered up with Cold Stone again, and if you want your your Nintendo games in your ice cream, there's 3 different flavors that they have now added to their list: Island Getaway Creation, Superstar Sprinkle Blast Creation, and Mighty Pink Puff Creation. Of course, based on Mario, Kirby, and Animal Crossing games. And so, if you've been, waiting for some Mario in your ice cream, now is the time.
People are still playing Pikmin Bloom. There was a recent update that added some new features, so you can now do some flower planting weekly challenges, and you can also invite friends to join those weekly challenges. And those are just two of the main features in the update. So if you're still playing, be sure to check those out.
And we discussed a little earlier about collections, about how great they are, and how the Switch has become a true home for them. And that is true, again, with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because we're getting the Cowabunga Collection, and that is going to be happening on August 30th. So at the end of this month, we'll be able to play. And if you just don't remember, the Cowabunga Collection contains Turtles Arcade, Turtles in Time Arcade, Turtles 1, 2, and 3, as well as Tournament Fighters from the NES, Turtles 4 Tournament Fighters from the Super Nintendo, Hyperstone Heist from the Sega Genesis, as well as Tournament Fighters from the Sega Genesis, and then Fall of the Foot Clan, Back from the Sewers, and Radical Rescue from the Game Boy. So you're getting a ton of games, 13 Turtle games, one collection, this August 30th.
Yeah, I was really disappointed about this one because I thought it was July 31st or 30th.
Oh,
And
no.
yeah, I was really bummed that my package had not arrived from Amazon yet. Yeah, I was a month ahead. Uh, but still excited it's coming soon. Nintendo also has recently acquired a company, but not a gaming company. It's Dynamo Pictures. They've acquired an animation studio that has recently done some work with Death Stranding, Persona 5, and they've been apparently, they've assisted in the past with Metroid Other M and the Pikmin short videos. So it seems like maybe Nintendo is wanting to, expand. Maybe, I don't know if this is going to affect the upcoming Mario movie, if they're just going to continue to have Illumination take care of that, and this is going to be something in the future. They're just going to beef up their cutscenes, but it's interesting to see Nintendo acquiring an animation studio.
That's certainly a good thing, that's for sure. And I added one more thing, which has apparently just happened during the podcast, and I figure let's talk about it briefly. Nintendo has tweeted out, for all you Tetris 99 gamers out there, that the Maximus Cup, a brand new event's happening from August 5th to the 10th. They're bringing back 6 themes. So if you just haven't played in a while and you're just like, ooh, you know what? I want to get some themes. They're going to be 10 points each, so very, very cheap. And they are Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Miitopia, Mario Golf, Super Rush, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD, WarioWare, Get It Together, and Metroid Dread. So those are all available right or almost August 5th. So this weekend, if you haven't played Tetris in a while and you want some cool Nintendo themes, these are pretty cheap.
Nice. Well, yeah, there's a lot of headlines, a lot more than we usually cover in an episode. So again, if you have not let us know what your thoughts are in any of that stuff, if stuff you're excited about, please do so in the chat or in the comments later after the fact. But yeah, what do you guys think about the stories? Anything stand out that you want to share a little more thoughts on before we move to the last section of our podcast today? How about you, Barry?
Oh, I mean, there's a ton. It's so
Yeah.
much. Excited for Pokemon Presents on Wednesday, that's for sure. Definitely look forward to see what we're going to do. Apparently, there's maintenance. I saw some maintenance for Pokken Tournament. So I don't know if that has anything to do with this at all, but maybe we're getting a Pokken Tournament 2 or more DLC or something. Who knows? I haven't played Switch Sports, Mario Strikers Battle League. I'm probably not going back to that. But it does kind of echo the whole debate of our Nintendo releasing their sports games pretty much half-assed, and then filling it in with free updates. They did it with Mario Tennis and Golf, and now again Strikers. So that kind of bothers me. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Pass 2, I'm excited about. That new course is also going to go to Tour as well. That again, that would have been part of the E3 Direct. So that's how I feel like there was one, and they just decided to break it up. The multiplayer sale doesn't bother me. Bayonetta 3, just again, that would have been the E3 Direct. I'm super excited to see that. Kirby's Dream Buffet, that probably would have been the E3 Direct as well. Just a shadow announcement of a Kirby game. That's great to see. I loved all the rumors about the Switch OLED. Like, oh, look, they're covering this up. There's going to be an announcement. There's going to be a hardware announcement. Everyone getting excited, and it's a Splatoon 3 Switch OLED, which was just hilarious. And yeah, I'm excited to see what Nintendo does with this animation studio. I really want to see them utilize them. If they're going to acquire them, utilize them.
Absolutely. Yeah. How about you, Greg?
Yeah, I do echo like Barry's thoughts on the sports games. They're like pretty much releasing like half and very little content, and then they can just try to patch it later. And that even kind of includes like Switch Sports Resort. I mean, I've seen people saying like, "Oh, it should have had whatever like golf." Like that's one of the staple ones from the Wii Sports game, and it was even on like the Wii Sports Resort, I think, as well. And in addition to the online version that was on Wii U, so it's kind of unusual that it had to come in an update, and it who knows what else it'll try to add. I mean, I've been pretty much done playing it, so I don't know if I'll be logging back in. Pokemon Presents obviously is going to be pretty cool. Can't wait to see what they show off there. Um, the online games being added didn't really tickle me to want to play those. I don't know. Maybe who knows? Maybe I might actually check that out. The Dream Buffet does seem kind of interesting. I don't know what they'll be doing quite different. I feel like Kirby's like so spread thin on the different things that they have him do. So that should be certainly very interesting to see. I'm actually thinking about going to the Cold Stone to try at least like one of those flavors while it's still limited. I think it'd be pretty cool. I saw a famous YouTuber Ryu Car. Him and his like girlfriend or whatever tried all three flavors on one of his videos. Very excited for the Cowabunga Collection. I definitely need to make sure I get that pre-ordered and so I can get that. And then like the animation studio thing is certainly very interesting because who knows, it's going to lead into like other like TV series or other movies. I mean, obviously they can't change the Illumination contract with the Mario movie, and that's been long underway already. But who knows? It could be used for cutscenes in games, or it could even be used for other forms of like media, like a TV series or other like movie things that they actually have full control over because they have the studio.
It's true. Maybe we'll see a new Zelda animated series, and we can get a new voice saying, "Excuse me, princess."
I want to
That'd
see an
be awesome.
anime based on the Palutena or Palutena reveal trailer for Smash, where it was Pit versus Link in that anime style. I would watch an anime of that.
That'd be great. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm excited about what we're going to see at the Pokemon event on Wednesday. I still don't have Switch Sports, so for me, I'm just like, if they keep releasing stuff, I'm just going to wait and see. If eventually it seems like a great game, then maybe I'll eventually get it. But I haven't been sold yet because it's just been halfway so far. And that's the same thing with like, we've talked about this multiple times about Mario Strikers, and I'm excited to have Daisy coming back. But you know what? It's for now, that game has been shelved for me, even though I love Mario Strikers. It's still shelved because it's not all there. And I kind of get the whole like thought behind, hey, let's trickle out some stuff, but I feel like they need to have at least a 75% finished game instead of a 20% finished game. Like, give us more in the beginning. I understand you want to trickle out things to keep us attached. That makes sense business wise. I get it, but it barely has enough content there to quantify as the full game, and then you're going to trickle it out. That's annoying. So.
Yeah, Strikers was definitely by far the worst of the sports games that go through this.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I felt
like if it had a couple
Aces
modes,
actually was pretty decent. Sorry, I felt like Aces actually had a pretty decent amount of content, and then having the and then like Golf was like a step back, like, and then on Strikers is like 5 steps back from that.
I think if Strikers had a couple more modes, it would have been fine. Like I don't mind them adding characters afterwards.
Totally.
Like this update would have been fine. 2 new characters, a new stadium, new armor set. That's fine. That keeps people back in. But it's just the whole, hey, give me a couple modes, give me a complete game. It's like Smash Brothers, right? Smash Brothers is a complete game, and then
Mhm.
they're adding fighters and just that's great. You're adding on top of a already completed game. This
Mhm.
is a game that doesn't have a lot to do. Like I said, I played through the single player tournament mode, and there was a higher difficulty, and I decided not to do it because it was more of the same. I wanted something different.
Yep.
Like, let me give some crazy modes or something, and there wasn't that.
Yep.
And adding new characters isn't going to change anything.
Right. Right. But on the other hand, they're killing it with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Like it's just
yeah,
amazing.
they're doing it
Like
right.
at this point, like this is a game that's worth like $150, not just, $60 plus the, DLC cost. But the
Well,
DLC cost is free
they're
when you're already a member. So,
they're killing it with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe because they're they know people want a Mario Kart 9 and they're probably working on a 9, and this is the cheapest way they could do it because of Mario Kart Tour. If Tour didn't exist, this wouldn't be happening. That's a fact. And what's funny is I remember when Coconut Mall came in part 1 or wave 1, press 1, whatever. You were complaining about the cars not moving.
yeah.
And then Coconut Mall went to tour, and the first level, oh look, the cars aren't moving. That makes sense. But then they moved because there's different versions, and I'm like, oh, they're
Ah,
moving in the mobile version, but they're not moving in the Switch version. That's pretty weird. I can
that is
understand
weird.
it the other way around, but
Right.
they absolutely do move in tour and online, like on the phone.
That is interesting. Yeah, I forgot about that. That Coconut Mall was disappointing, but it's still cool. I mean, like it's an easily overlooked thing because the everything
Oh
else
yeah,
is so great what they're doing. So, yeah, just quickly through the other stuff that stood out to me. Bayonetta 3, great to have a announcement for when it's coming out. And let's see, Splatoon 3, Switch OLED, whatever. The Lego stuff is really the coolest thing. I'm probably not gonna get Bowser, but I am still really excited about what this means for the future. Like if this goes well for them, like I may eventually have my Hyrule Castle Lego. It's gonna be so awesome. And
that's the set I would have to buy.
that will be the one I buy. Yes, for sure. And yeah, I think the Cowabunga Collection I already mentioned. Thought it was coming out last month, and it wasn't, so I was disappointed. But it's going to be here before you know it. And yeah, I've kind of given up on Tetris 99. I'm not good at it compared to everybody else, so I've stopped playing it a long time ago. So it's
You're gonna
cool
log
though.
in and get a theme for cheap. You probably have 10 tickets.
A
You can get
theme
one of
that I
those
would
themes.
only use in the game that I don't play.
Yeah.
It's not like a theme in the Switch. Maybe that eventually come out. That'd be cool. Maybe I'd do it
Oh
for
yeah,
that.
that would be awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm also excited, like what you guys said about what this whole animation studio, what that means for Nintendo moving forward, and hopefully they utilize it well because this could be really fun. They have so many great IP that hopefully within game, of course, but outside of games, that could be really cool too. So. Well, we're gonna move on to what's coming up over the next couple weeks before our next episode. But before we do that, I do want to remind you one more time, if you have not followed us on Twitter, please do that at NintendoFuse, and you can also join us in our Discord server. You'll see the link on the screen, also in the show notes and the YouTube description. We'd love for you to join in on all the discussion that happens in between episodes. It's a great place. I know a lot of conversation happened in between our last couple episodes because it was a little longer between episodes 254 and 255. But yeah, the conversation did not stop because we have our social media and our Discord and lots of great conversation in there that we'd love to have you be a part of as well. So be sure to hop over there. And if you've not liked us, if you've not subscribed to us and all those different things on social media, here on YouTube, on your favorite podcast app, we just encourage you to do that as well. Yeah, let's jump into what's coming out over the next couple weeks and what games are going to be coming out. There's not a whole lot of big ones, at least that stood out to me. I know one of the big ones that we've seen before was 2 Point Campus. This is gonna be coming out on August 9th. And I know they've shown that off a few times on Nintendo Direct minis and things like that before. But other than that, nothing really stood out to me. Barry, anything big coming out over the next couple weeks that you're excited about?
I don't think anything big is coming out in August to my knowledge. So there's nothing really that excites me. I can tell you what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3
I kind of figured
until I
that.
finish
I
it.
kind of figured that. Yeah.
And I'm hoping that I can finish it before our next podcast, which means I'll be playing this a whole hell of a lot. But that's okay because my wife is very understanding. And like, you've been waiting for this game since 2017, since Xeno 2 came out, so you just go right ahead. And I love her for that, because it absorbs me. Like, I'm doing my work stuff, and then I'm like, all right, Xeno, all right, eat Xeno. Like, I just want to see more. It's like being a kid again. I absolutely love it. But if I do finish it, when I finish it, the next game I plan to play, and it could change, of course, because I am playing some games I can't talk about because I'm playing them for obviously review or for stuff for premium. But I was thinking about playing Yuru Kill, which came out just about maybe a month or two ago. It's like a visual novel, and I've heard good things. It's a visual novel slash shmup. It's got shmup segments, which is really interesting combination, and I've heard good things. So I think that might be one of the ones I jump into next. But anything can happen. Who knows?
Nice. Greg, how about you?
Yeah, nothing really stuck out over this. I do have a lot of catch up to do. There's a lot of premium games that I haven't played, at least according to the actual releases that have been done. So those have been on my backlog for some time, and I need to get into it, like Demon's Tier, and I do want to play more Phenotopia Awakening and stuff like that. That stuff that's already out, and then I'll definitely be continuing on with Animal Crossing for the foreseeable future, as like the August fireworks and stuff is back, and I know my daughter will be excited for that. So it definitely will be a slower month for picking up these games, and I still need to hit some other items off the backlog.
Nice. Yeah, I think the next couple weeks, as I look at it, there's nothing brand new that I'm excited about, and so if I do, if I do play much, it'd be a good chance to go back and hit some games on the backlog. Hopefully, I need to settle down with Life is Strange 2 at some point,
Yes.
and get that one. I think at this point, it's pretty much the only thing that I've got left, other than the little piece of Life is Strange True Colors, the extra stuff that I cannot play on my
Oh,
Switch still because it's like got that glitch and it will not let me access it at all. But that's minor in the whole scheme of things. I'll eventually maybe get to it, and I guess I could also just watch it online if I needed to. But that's really the only game that's really standing out to me that I'm going to try to get to over the next couple weeks. But like I said, the next couple weeks is going to be a little busier of a time for me. So hopefully I'll get some games in, and probably, it's nice to have some more games. Like, one of the reasons why I like Rocket League, I can fire it up and just play a couple games and be done with it really quick, if I want to be, and I can also get sucked into it. But games like Fall Guys is also like that. So that's what I tend to be finding myself doing a lot more, and maybe now Fortnite a little more, just because I can do a couple quick games, I can move on if I have like 10 minutes, 15 minutes here and there. So that's really fun. And it's great to have it on the go. Like, if I need to, I can take Switch on the go with me and play those games. So just another checkbox in the reasons why I enjoy what Nintendo's doing on the Switch, and hopefully they continue the same model. Switch 2 Pro, new ZU version, whatever that is. So I forget what Greg called it last time.
it's funny. Hassan just came in playing Fortnite right now as we
there
speak.
you go. I figured.
Figured you were
Nice.
playing.
Yep. He
See,
heard
Steve,
I've been firing up.
I heard you say Rocket League and maybe Fall Guys and Fortnite, but we all know you meant to say Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Well, considering the fact that you spent 40 hours and you're not even halfway done with the game yet, I don't think that I have time for that right now. Maybe later
Oh,
this
you
year,
totally.
but I definitely don't have time right now. It would be a game that I'd be like making little progress here and there, and you'd be like, "Hey, Steve, you finished it yet?" Nope. Maybe through chapter 1, but that's about it. Nice. Well, we are here. We are at the end of episode 255. Our next episode is August 15th, 2022. We'll be back with another live recording. So if you have not joined us live, we encourage you to join us in the chat. We love being able to talk with you guys throughout the episode. We've had several join us tonight. Huston, of course. Also Jonathan, Jakester, Jokester. I believe we had Kevin as well, and I believe there was someone else. I'm gonna forget them, and they're going to hate me. But maybe not. Maybe not. I'm just remember seeing you guys in there as well. So I think I called you guys all out, at least the ones that have been chatting. I know there's several other people that have been joining along and just watching along. Jump in the chat room next time. We'd love to hear your thoughts on all the things that we're talking about. But yeah, this brings us to the end of episode 255. Barry, what's going to be going on in your world over the next couple weeks beyond playing Xenoblade?
A lot of premium stuff, a lot of stuff going on behind the scene. In fact, we just put up a retro edition second chance sale today. So if you missed out on our Series 3 retro editions or Phenotopia Cathedral, Mighty Fight Federation, as well as Pigeon Dev Games Collection, those are up. I think Demon's Tier might be up too. I had to check. Those are up, available today, so make sure to get them. And we also have an announcement coming later this week. It's a big one. You don't want to miss it. Can't say anything, but it's certainly something to stay tuned to social media for.
Nice. Speaking of premium, it was pretty awesome to see Raji was the trailer was posted on Nintendo's official Nintendo's YouTube the other day, and at the very end says physical edition coming, or physical version coming from premium edition games. So right there on Nintendo's official YouTube channel. So congratulations to premium.
Thank you. Yes, that was awesome. Awesome to see.
Yeah. Greg, also, of course, working for premium. Greg, what's going on in your world over the next couple weeks?
Yep, it will just be making sure that our distributors with premium are getting their copies of their games. I've been working with the other team members to make sure that's all possible, and then still got to be gathering more distributors to start carrying our games. So I'll be trying to focus out on that on the coming weeks as well. So hopefully find some more stores, and obviously if you want to purchase or even carry premium edition games, just make sure to reach out to us and we'll get back to you and get that set up.
Cool. Yeah, for me, hopefully I'll get some games in. I've got a lot of different things. This time of year is kind of a little busier for me, but hopefully I'll get some games in and everything like that. But yeah, I'm personally missing some events that are be on. I keep seeing these events in the world, like PAX West, and I think maybe someday I'll be able to eventually get back to a PAX event. Be able to join you guys at some of the other events that you guys are doing too. So, yeah, it's just, other than maybe getting some games in and just staying busy with work stuff, it's going to be not too exciting for me, I guess, over the next couple of weeks. But hopefully we'll have some good stuff to talk about on our next episode. Huston's in the chat saying love to come on as a guest. Hopefully we get Huston back on as a guest really soon as well. But thanks everybody for joining us for episode 255. We'll be back, like we said, for another live recording on August 15th. But until then, happy gaming, everybody.
Have a good one.
See you next time.